What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I got my guest here, Ashley Clemens. I met her in the container that we're in, and she's been a coach for 8, going on 9 years now. And she mostly focuses on working with women. And I just wanted to have her on the podcast and see, what similar things we have since we're both fitness coaches and see if we have any common enemies or anything like that. So, Ashley, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you doing today, Sam?
Good, good. So, What what really got you into fitness?
Yeah, so my fitness journey started over a decade ago, actually. And I always like to say that I was heavily influenced by 90s dieting culture and really chased being as skinny as possible. So I really have this history of under eating and overtraining. And I watched my mom do aerobics and I used to run half marathon on the treadmill. It was a little crazy because I wasn't educated on, the importance of weightlifting and muscle. And, so that was what I believed, just work out through cardio mostly to get as small as possible. And over a decade, I think it was maybe 14 years ago now, that I was introduced to weightlifting and everything changed. That was really the catalyst that sparked this like major personal shift first in fitness, where I think it's special for anyone to feel strong, but I think especially for a woman to build strength is the most empowering thing and it builds a lot of confidence. So to be able to do my first pull up and push up, those were big milestones, like
Nice.
unassisted.
Yeah.
That made me feel like a badass, quite frankly. And I was like, oh, this is actually cool, fun. It's it's way more fun than running a half marathon on a treadmill. And and also the shift in my body. Like I started to actually see like this toned look that women always talk about wanting,
Yeah.
because I built muscle. So it wasn't just like, being stick thin. It was like, oh, there's like actual curves and tone. I look like an athlete. And that really just like was, like I said, the catalyst that sparked me being like, okay, well, I was so wrong about fitness and what it took to achieve this look I'd been chasing for so many years. So like, what else was I wrong about? And that's when I went down this whole rabbit hole of learning more about nutrition and overall health and all those things.
Nice, nice. So how old were you when you first started like working out and running and everything?
Well, I played soccer my whole life, played soccer in college. So I had always been like running and doing that like, literally my whole life. But it wasn't until like end of college that I discovered weightlifting.
Okay, okay. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I feel like that's where a lot of women do the mistake, that same mistake of they want to get in shape, so then they super restrict their calories and then just focus only on cardio and not any weightlifting. And then, like you said, they're not happy with the results because they're not seeing that toned look they're looking for, but that comes from weightlifting. And I don't know where this stick, like this notion that if they lift, they'll get like bulky. Like, do you know how hard it is to like get muscle? Like you have to train so hard for so long to like get that big. Like you're not gonna just pick up a dumbbell and then look like Ronnie Coleman, you know?
Yeah. I joke about that all the time. I'm like, I've been trying to get bulky for 13 years and I
Yeah.
can't do it.
Yes.
Like I'm feeling bad.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 100%.
People spend like so much time trying to get bulky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't
So
know
it's
until
not gonna. Yeah. So that's good that that's like one of the things you're educating women on. And like you said, I'm sure it is super empowering, like once they can, if you can get your clients also to do like a pull up or a push up on their own.
Yeah, I think initially what draws women in is the aesthetic goal, wanting to look a certain way. But then when they see their own strength, I always have these milestones that I love to celebrate, like when a weight, as I'll say, to a barbell, from a dumbbell to a barbell. That's like, they're like, oh, this is actually really cool. Like I don't think they have a goal to do that always in the beginning. Like you don't necessarily care about that. But then when they do, they're like, oh, wait, this is actually so awesome. Like, I'm actually getting strong. Like, I'm using a bar. And then, like you said, a push up. I'm doing a push up not on an incline. I can do it on the floor. I can actually like hang from a bar, my strength. Like, all those things start to become a real big motive, I think, for women.
For sure, for sure. So what made you decide to start coaching other people?
So I actually was a kindergarten teacher after college and always wanted to teach. Like I had no interest in anything else. Like I just always knew I was going to be a teacher. And I did love my job, but I got very burnt out. And long story short, kind of hit this point in my teaching career where I realized if there was a time to try something else, now was the time, or I'd probably end up doing this the rest of my life. I was like, you know what? Let's just take a chance. I can always go back to teaching. And so I quit my job, moved across the country, and I said, let me start with personal training certification first. I feel like this is like a good entry into, the only other thing I could imagine doing was like being a fitness instructor. It was just like something that was kind of becoming popular on the internet. I feel like I'm aging myself with this, but like the only Instagram people at that time were like about 8, 9 years ago were like fitness girls. And I'm like, oh my God, I could totally do that. So let me
Yeah,
just start with my personal training certification and, got in the gym. I shadowed some trainers and I was like in love with it, totally was like, this is awesome. And to answer your question about like what made me want to then really kind of evolve that into more of a coaching, I was having these conversations with women in the gym who thought that just our 45-minute session twice a week was going to like change their whole life. And although they were building strength and all these amazing things were happening, I didn't have enough time with them to like
yeah,
really, I'm like, we got to work out while we're together and we have so much more to talk about. And there's like these other 23 hours in the day that are actually driving the way you look. Like they thought the key to like their 50-pound weight loss goal was going to be 2 45-minute strength training sessions. And I'm like, we got to talk about your food, your identity, your habits. And it just like this light bulb went off where I was like, I can do this. Like like I was born to teach. This is like kind of combining my two passions of teaching with like fitness and wellness. And so I just created this program that now I call the Fit Life Collective, Fit Life Method. And I, basically still support women, with their strength training because that's essential. But I try to, support them in the other 23 hours of the day with transforming like their mission so that they can really like get the full transformation they're looking for.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize what like a big part the nutrition plays because a lot of people do have that idea of like, okay, if I just go to the gym a couple days a week, I'll just get like all these results. I mean, it's gonna be obviously that's a great start and you're gonna get some results, but it's not gonna get you all the way there unless you really incorporate all those other things like you just mentioned.
Absolutely. And it's not, yeah, strength training is still so important. I just think it's kind of not known. People don't realize that that's not enough. We have to do
Yeah.
so much more.
Yeah, for sure. Even just from my experience when I like started working out, I think that was like 12 years ago now. Because I got overweight, not kind of, I was pretty overweight. So, but when I started working out, I was just working out with my friends and we kind of knew what we were doing. I think we were just following like like an influencer on Instagram and got like one of his workouts, but we were running like every day and then doing the weightlifting, which our form was like looking back, it was so bad, but we were working really hard. Like we
Yeah.
were really pushing ourselves. I mean, I was in like my mid 20s by then because I was always been like a scrawny kid and like just played music my whole life. So I never worked out till then. And but I lost like 40 pounds in 6 months just from like changing my eating habits because that was the big thing. I was eating like fast food for like almost all my meals and drinking so much soda. So I cut out all the soda and then actually started cooking all my meals. And that paired with all the lifting and all that stuff, I was able to lose the 40 pounds. And then after that, I moved down to Long Beach and then I got into powerlifting and then I kind of did some like bad like bulking and cutting and my nutrition wasn't the best even though I was like pushing myself really hard in the gym like with the powerlifting. It wasn't until like I got a bodybuilding coach and started eating like that way where I finally got like lasting results and like really understood the nutrition side of things. But it took me a few years of trial and error and stuff to get there.
Yeah. And then when
Yeah.
you enter that like bodybuilding world and see what's actually possible with manipulating nutrition, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. And that's like I'm the same as you. Like I like to be teaching my clients. I don't want to just give them a plan and then not give any explanation of why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think especially in this era we're living in, it's like all the information, you can find anything on the internet. You can really find the information. It's what people are looking for is a guide, like how do I use this information? There's too much. It's like we have too much information. It's like info overload. So
Yeah.
people like what is like they're hearing conflicting advice on social media. Their aunt is on Ozempic. This person did carnivore. And they're just like, what do I do with this information? How do I actually, what is the right answer for me personally? I think that's really what people are looking for.
Yeah, exactly. There's just so much. So, kind of on that topic, then, what are like some of the things that you like preach like like or your like kind of common enemies? Like I know mine would be, people that are like so focused on just calories in, calories out when they're not like really focused on the individual or like following like an if it fits your macros plan where like I can understand like kind of doing like macros, but you need to have I've like find it's better to have like a lot more structure for people than to just try to just fit a macros because people usually end up just eating like a bunch of junk food to try to fit their macros instead of whole food. So like what are your thoughts on that?
100%. I like to describe, I say calories are very surface level, right? It's like the quantity. We need to have that energy. That energy balance does need to exist, especially when it comes to weight loss. People like to blame their lack of progress on hormones and inflammation and all of these other things. And I always have to remind people the law of thermodynamics is not going anywhere. We need to at minimum, that energy balance has to exist. But I always say that's very surface level, like you said, right? Like the calories in, calories out is barely scratching the surface. Then the next level would be where do those calories come from a macronutrient standpoint, proteins, carbs, and fats. And that will get us closer. It's going to change our body composition. But then, and so I try to explain to my clients that we'll start with surface level because once you see results in week 1, you're like, oh, you're bought in. You're like, oh, this is cool. Like the scale's moving. Then we're like, okay, let's make sure that we're not just shrinking ourselves, not even dieting culture. We want to get strong and toned. So then we focus on macros. But then to your point, I'm on the exact same page. It's like now we go a level deeper and it's like, what are we actually eating? Quality of food is really going to take us to the next level, not only from a results standpoint, we're going to get to fuel ourselves with better food, but we're going to sustain those results because we feel really good. And I think, again, initially we all want to look good and there's nothing wrong with that. But what draws us in for life and allows us to create a lifestyle that we can sustain and love, genuinely love. That's my goal for all my clients is that they build a body and life they love is I feel really good. I can do a pull-up. I'm strong. I can run a 5K. And I also don't have brain fog. And that's not going to come from, if it fits your macros. That's going to come from fueling yourself with really good food and having the really good habits to support it. So my other thing is, once we get that nutrition dialed in, it's like I'm a habit-based coach. It's like, what are our routines? How are we winding down for great sleep? What are tools that we can, romanticize wellness throughout our day and create? And how can we habit stack to make the healthy choice the easy choice throughout the day?
Yep.
And even just how do we manage stress? That's a huge thing. You might have the perfect, most beautiful meal plan and workout plan, but we all are humans and we're going to have vacations pop up and we're going to have work stress and personal stress. And if our go-to is to cope with that through binge drinking or, Netflix binging, and we don't have tools in our toolbox that will affect our results and our overall health. So I think I preach the same thing in terms of food quality, but also like lifestyle change requires habit.
For sure, for sure. And like you said, the stress can be a huge part of it, and that can be overlooked. And that's why I usually like am more thorough with my check-ins and asking, especially if there's any relationship stress also that can play a part into it. You're not going to see that if they're just filling up their food log and their training log, and you're not seeing the progress. It could be some of these lifestyle factors that are affecting it.
100%. If
Yeah,
I had to think of like anything else that I talk a lot about in terms of like enemies or whatever too, I would just say, like I mentioned in the beginning, like running was my thing. I was like, I'm going to like, that is a misconception. I talk all of, see Pilates is like a big
Oh, it
out of
is.
a fad. And I
Yeah.
always say this, I'm like, I'm not a hater. I do Pilates once a week when I can because it's just, I want a strong core and it's nice to mix it up. But I think a lot of women see these like skinny, petite, toned women doing Pilates. So they think just like you could run your way to your dream body, you can Pilates your way to your dream body. And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Pilates is not to progressive overload and it's not going to get you. So that's like
Yeah.
another. And even though I do it and I love it, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not the solution to your problems.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to frame it. Like you said, if you do it once a week, that's great. If you're adding it on top of everything else you're doing to like switch it up, and like you said, it's great for your core. But that can't be like your like meat and potatoes workouts. Like it needs to be like the actual lifting, progressive overload. Like that's what women need to do, just like what men need to do to get results.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And these other things, I mean, right now it's Pilates. Maybe in a year it'll be bar or P-ball more or whatever else. But it's like at the end of the day, it's like the bread and butter needs to be strength training for men and women. And everything
yeah.
else is like, great, do what you love, do what brings you joy, you know? So
Yeah, exactly. And then you'd also mentioned you focus on making sure your clients like aren't bloated and feeling that way. So that's like what you've do you ever I know we focus on the nutrition side of things, but you also go more like deep into their like gut health as well with anything?
yeah. So right now I'm actually pursuing a functional nutrition certification. So I'm excited, hopefully by the end of this year, to be able to, order stool tests and cortisol tests and a little bit more
Yeah,
comprehensive lab work to dive into some of these issues. But as of right now, I do partner with a functional provider and
awesome.
that testing is great. I've personally been through a lot of that because I do believe in like getting to the root cause of some of these other issues. But even though I love all that and I've have personal experience and help clients with that, I always say that we can solve a lot of these problems without we don't need visually.
Yeah,
A lot of the problems can be solved by like really free things, free and basic things like changing our lifestyle and habits. And so
yeah,
that's what I would rather spend the first 6 months on is like, it might not be perfect, right? We might still need to do some further investigation, but if we can lose 50 pounds and learn how to time our meals and build and eat balanced meals, cooking from home, like I said, stress, getting more sleep. I talk and teach my clients about environment. So setting up our environment for health, even just like environmental toxins, what types of things are we using to cook,
yeah,
our water quality, our air quality. Like there's women especially, we put so many toxins on our skin through makeup and hair care and all perfumes and all of this
oh
stuff
yeah,
that, really can date and cause inflammation in our body and our gut. And so these are really simple things and changes that we can make in our environment that can help with all of that on top of losing the weight and eating better and moving more. And then a
yeah.
lot of these symptoms are at least significantly less just from the lifestyle change that we work on.
For sure. So, like you said, especially for women, you're wearing all that makeup and perfumes and stuff, and those can be endocrine disruptors. So, like you said, you don't want to go straight to buying a bunch of peptides if they're still doing those things, because then you're just spending more money, and your body's going to be like not even gonna be able to receive the signals from the peptides if it's still fighting off this other stuff. So, quitting. I mean, makeup can get expensive and all that stuff too. So if you stop buying that, then you're going to be saving money. And then if you need to eventually go to the peptides for some reason, then yeah. But yeah, like you said, if we focus on those daily habits that and managing stress, because even stress, can affect your digestion, your gut lining, and all those things. So once you can, calm your nervous system, be eating like good foods that aren't, to the best of our abilities, filled with like pesticides and all this other things that's going to make you feel bad, then, we can, and especially losing the 50 pounds, like that'll cut a lot of inflammation. So once you get that good foundation built, then you can add in the peptides if you need it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people go straight to, yeah, because a lot of people go straight to like having like bad lifestyle and habits and then like straight to peptides, but they haven't built like a foundation for their body to like use the peptides.
100%. And even I tell people like I'm guilty of that. In the fall, this past fall, I tried 3 or 4 different peptides. And at the time, I didn't know, but I did find out I had mold poisoning, pretty
Oh,
heavy
okay. Dang.
of
Yeah.
gliotoxin. And gliotoxin is bad for the brain, especially, I mean, it affects all of your organs. But it was kind of like trying to put, a sprinkler on a forest fire. And even though I thought to myself, I'm ready to optimize, I've got everything under control, I'm in a good place, like, let's test this out so I can be a little guinea pig and see, what's possible. I stopped after 6 weeks and I'm like, this is very expensive when I just realized I have mold poisoning. Let's kind of get some of the, detox from that, get back to a good
Yeah.
baseline, and retry again in a year. So, you just never know. I do think there's a time and place, and it's great when you get to that point to try to optimize. But yeah, you don't want to do that when you don't have a strong foundation for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I actually had to help a couple of my clients with that, like, because they realized that the house that they were living in had mold, and so one of my clients was kind of stuck for a little bit, and then because he works from home half the time, and then his office was the place that had like the most mold, and I was like, okay, well now we found the problem.
Yeah.
So they got that all like stripped out and air filters and all that stuff. So yeah, we're going on good track now. Yeah, but
Really.
yeah, a lot of
Yeah, it
people. I
can be
feel
pretty
like that's
scary.
like a more and more like common thing lately is the people with the mold toxicity. So I don't know if it's just what's going on with it. Maybe just more people are more aware of these things.
I think it's awareness because it's really everywhere. I mean, here in Florida, it's of course like it's so humid, and then there's hurricane damage, leaks, but it doesn't. I think it doesn't matter. Like it's everywhere, and I think we're just yeah, it's being talked about a little more, so there's more awareness. And even I tested this apartment that I'm in now, and thank God I had good luck. But it made me think like, where did I get this from? Because you could have been exposed as a child, and then it stays in your body.
Yeah,
So it's good, I think, that we're talking about it and being aware of it. But yeah, it's just another one of the factors of like how we can feel and function is our
for
environment.
sure,
So I think it's important to talk about environment too.
for sure, for sure. So I think I was going to talk to you more about your coaching principles. Let me think. Just bear with me for a second. Sorry. I'm still newer to this podcasting thing.
So fun. We're so
Yeah.
fun. We're that.
Um, do you have a podcast or do you I just saw some clips, but I wasn't sure if those were just like your interviews with your clients.
Those on my Instagram, I go live with clients and colleagues. So it's kind of like my version of a mini podcast that I've been
Oh,
doing
fun.
um
Okay.
I've been on a guest on a few podcasts, but I haven't hosted my own. I think subconsciously I do the lives to practice because I do want to start one.
Hmm.
You're
Okay.
inspiring. I have yet to
Okay.
do it. You're inspiring me
Yeah.
to
I
do
just
it.
yeah, I just started it because I was on a few podcasts last year, and then a couple other coaches I know like they had started theirs and then had me on, and then so that's why I wanted to start my own because I was like, oh, I thought it's like it's not too hard using this website. So
Yeah.
me and my wife just remodeled this. This was our guest bedroom, so then we just remodeled it to my office, so then it would be like a place to do the podcast and work and everything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You're happy that you just ripped the Band-Aid off and started it?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then just trying to get, as I was talking about this yesterday with work, each one I just try to get a little bit better.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
it's you just have to like it's like exposure therapy. That's how I feel.
yeah, yeah. So okay, so so you said you've been a coach for like 8 or 9 years. Are there you have your Fit Life method? So I guess tell me more about like that. I think we dove a little bit, but like so you focus on like the nutrition things. Is there anything else that we haven't covered in your method that people should know about?
I don't I think I think of it as three, you know, principles we could call them, or like three categories. Um, because yes, I am a trainer, nutritionist, but I'm also a health coach. So I tell my clients that I want to combine like these three principles into the coaching experience and what the transformation looks like.
Hmm.
So strength training is one, like having a progressive training plan. And yes, that means that we're creating a progressive program as the bread and butter, like we just said, but also talking about like what other types of movement bring you joy. How many steps are you getting a day? Like where does cardio fit in? Where does Pilates fit in? So it's like a custom training plan that's based in strength. And then nutrition is, of course, probably the most important pillar when it comes to that body change. So the calories, macros, then food quality. And, I do review food diaries and, teach people how to eat out and navigate vacations and social plans. And I personally am not like I'm not, it's funny because I always say, if you're looking for a macro coach that tracks 24/7, 365, like that's really not me. I have done it in the past. I know how to do it, but I've used that experience to inform, I call myself an informed eater now. So I use that foundation and experience to inform and guide my choices. And now I truly eat intuitively and for myself, and then fall back on using tracking strategically as a tool to check myself. Sometimes if I need to work on a goal, like right now, I'm trying to not bulk, but grow back some muscle that I lost in the last year from just like a little bit of under eating and stress. And so I'm using, my tools of tracking to hold myself accountable to that. But I try to explain that, when you have built that experience and you've achieved your goal, you can use tracking as a tool to come back to. You don't need to like live and breathe it. You learn how to eat and then you know how to eat,
Yeah.
which is just, so I lead by example in that way. And then that third principle or pillar, whatever we want to call it, is our environment and our habits. And so that's where I think the coaching relationship builds longevity, because I do feel like some days I feel like a therapist, some days I feel like a life coach. It's
Yeah.
really like where we get personal. It's like every week we're humans. We're going to have relationship things. We're going to have different seasons of life, where we have challenges, and having someone in your corner to, support you through stressful moments and travel. And like we talked about, improve our environment, learn how to grocery shop, learn how to cook. All of that stuff falls into that bucket for me. And it's the most fun bucket in my opinion, is helping people with that, because it just looks different person to person.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, just to go back on like the eating part of it, I'm similar. Like I don't track everything as I mean I write down everything I eat because I have a coach. So I have like a food diary just so I can show him like what I'm eating, kind of keep myself accountable. But I mean, because like we've been doing it so long, I know, how much I'm eating is like how many macros, so I know what I should be eating. I mean, plus I'm a coach too. Like he doesn't necessarily need to tell me like if I'm gonna do like I'm gonna start a fat loss phase, so I know like okay, like I'm gonna keep like all my protein the same across my meals, like keep my carbs higher around my workouts, and then I can cut them out away from my workouts because then I don't need the carbs there, and then just keep like healthy fats in the meals and whatever. So usually um, like for me, I know if I'm gonna do that, or if I was already having like a cup of rice for like 4 meals, then I just keep a cup of rice in three of them, and maybe cut out like one, or and on my rest days I'll cut out 2 meals will just be like protein and veggies, and then I know that will create the deficit, but I don't need to track like every little calorie or macro. Like I already know, like that's just knowing that's already going to be cutting out like a few hundred calories, just like that.
And it's like so simple. Yeah. Cause your
Yeah,
brain is, you've done it before. So your brain knows like, this is the carb. I got to cut it.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
worst case
So
scenario, you were out to eat, you would know like what to eat on your plate and what to skip and avoid.
yeah, exactly. But this is like you can't just go straight from like not knowing anything to getting right here like right away. So people have to understand like it does take some time to get here, but this should be the goal.
100%. Yeah.
And then I like that. I like the way you structure the your pillars and those things, and the last one especially, because so much goes into like the lifestyle and habits, and it is so different for every client. Like everyone is so unique, and their life stress or at their work, and like for me, I help guys that work in like blue collar jobs, like on the railroad, so our shifts are all over the place. So then building out plans for guys that work during the day, swing shifts, like overnight shifts, it's like way different.
Yeah, that's a great niche. Yeah, because overnight, actually, that's how I got started working. I don't exclusively work with medical professionals, but I just kind of fell into my lap where I worked with a lot of doctors and nurses, and they referred to me. And And a lot of nurses work, of course, I mean, all medical professionals, there's night shift, like just like with your clients, right? And night shift is a whole beast in itself. And it's like, it's already such a stressor on the body and it's really hard to figure out like eating routines and patterns and meal timing. So, we got to make sure the rest of our day and all of our other habits are on point.
Yeah. Okay, let's dive into that for some people that like you are listening to the podcast and they don't know so much if they do work an overnight shift. So let's kind of compare what we do. So like what do you do like if someone's going to work an overnight shift? I know mostly it's like going to be 12-hour shifts. At least that's how it is like when my wife has worked like overnight, it'd be like 7 to 7 or something like that or maybe like 11 to 7. So how do you structure their eating and everything?
No, I really do. It depends. It's not always a one plan. It's like I look at what they're doing already and kind of how they feel. A lot of people, I like the workout after the shift. So 7
Okay.
a.m. they get off and they're going to train before they like go to sleep.
Yeah.
And so if that is the case, which it usually is in terms of like, I know you asked specifically about nutrition, but like the workout timing,
We can
then
do that
that will,
too.
yeah, right. Like you get off at 7 a.m. and it's like, let's get that workout in before you go home and crash.
Yeah.
So we want to get a meal in around that workout. So,
Yes.
in that morning, what would a normal person would be eating breakfast at that time?
Yeah.
When I say person to person, it's going to depend too. Like, I'm assuming all of your clients are going to be lifting, right? So you're like getting them on a strength routine.
Yeah. Hmm.
So for me, that's not the case. So that's where it kind of varies because I want them to eventually get there, but we might not be there yet with like a workout routine. So it's like, let's just get the eating down first. And
Oh,
so
okay.
we
Yeah.
might
Nice.
not be eating. We might just be like ending our shift and going right to sleep.
Got it. Okay. Cool.
You know what I mean?
Awesome.
So it's
Yeah.
really like
Yeah.
I'm kind of playing into uh first of all, just like what they're already doing and how they're feeling, because sometimes they're just eating like two double, like it's like they're eating a day's worth of food and a day's worth of food at night. Like they're just like over consuming calories because of
Mm,
their
yeah.
schedule. So sometimes
Yeah.
it's really just like we need to structure it like you need to cut out 2 meals. Literally, you're eating 2 extra meals. But it's also then I'm looking at are we training or not? What is that train like outside of just steps? And if we are
Yeah.
training, okay, now we can kind of plan our
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. So I guess it'd just depend, like, yeah, where they're at. So if they weren't like working, like if they weren't training yet, then you don't want to throw them like right into this training plan along with like all these other other habits. They have to you build them up to that. That's a good, yeah, that's really
yeah.
good. Yeah, you
And
don't
I
want to
don't
like,
want them eating and I don't want them eating like in the early in the morning. Like if they're not going to leave night shift and go straight to sleep, I don't want them like adding that.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, because the way I've done it is this like what worked for me too when I worked like overnights is because I'd basically just flip my whole day. So like I'd sleep during the day and then I'd wake up and then that would be like my morning. So then I'd get up, like make my first meal and then pack my lunch. And then while I'm at work, I would have like 2 or 3 meals. And my last one would be my pre-workout meal. Then I get off work, like change and then go to the gym, work out, then get home, have one more meal, and then wait a little bit and then go to sleep and then sleep like through the afternoon. So I'd make sure I have like my work room blacked out, blackout curtains and all these things so I could sleep during the day, which I know is not ideal for people because your body's supposed to be sleeping at night. But when you work on the railroad and you have no seniority and you have to work nights, that's what you got to do.
100%. Yeah, you just got that's what I recommend too. I'm like, you have to totally flip it and really just hibernate because otherwise your digestion is also on a circadian rhythm.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
I- and I don't know for you, like on the railroad for nurses and doctors, this is what I hate about it is that it's not like 3 nights in a row always. And then you can kind of flip schedule. It's like sometimes they'll have one night shift, a day shift, 2 night shifts, 2 day shifts. Or not two, sorry. When I say day shift, I meant just not working is what I meant.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, right? Like night shift, day off, 2 night. And I'm like, oh my God, you're flipping back
Yeah.
between like nocturnal and non-nocturnal, like multiple times a week, that to me is like crazy. And obviously I have no control and they have no control. But I don't know, did you have like consecutive days at least?
Yeah, I would have like a couple days off. So I'd have the same 2 days off. So then that at that time I was just trying to keep. Luckily, my wife also worked. We both worked nights, so we would just be like off, like we would just get off in the morning and then do our workouts and whatever, and then sleep during the day, and then we both get up and like get ready for work. So and then on our days off, we would just do our best to try to keep it the same. It would not like depending, but then those were really our only times to do anything. So sometimes it wouldn't always work out because it's like we have to still do something. Every once in a
Yeah.
while we can't only be working. So that's like the hard part. But then what really sucked was with this new job earlier this year, I had like such a weird schedule. I had like three swing shifts and then one overnight shift and then 3 days off. So it was nice having like 3 days off, but then like that overnight shift, I just wouldn't like sleep. I would just like take a nap before work and then work overnight, and then I get up and then I would just wouldn't sleep because then I just be up all day and then just sleep normal at night again. Because like rest of every day, like 6 days of the week, I could sleep overnight. It would just be that one day I had an overnight shift, so
So you're
that was
like
rough.
pulling
Plus,
all night,
yeah, yeah,
like
just
cut
basically pull an
throat,
all nighter. Yeah, because then I have to be up with the kids during the day, and then I don't want to feel like I'm wasting my day off. That
Yeah,
So
that is so hard with kids too. Like, oh my gosh. I mean, and it's
yeah,
nice if you and your wife were on the same routine, like you said, like thank God. But also when you do have those 2 days off, it's like, yeah, might have an appointment. You have to, or maybe you want to hang out with someone else that has a normal schedule. And
yeah,
it's like, God forbid, I have so much empathy. I couldn't do it. I have so much empathy for all my clients and everyone that works at night, but it's no joke.
yeah,
It's no joke.
yeah.
But yeah, it's all about for me and my clients, like, are you training or not is kind of like my first point. Cause if you are
Yeah.
training, like, right, you need to eat that meal, get off, go to the gym, and then you have that like last little meal before you go to bed. And so that's the part where like I don't want eating right around sleep. It's like I want you to
Yeah.
kind of like just like I would structure a normal person's schedule. Like we want to I teach at least to eat a bigger breakfast and have more of our calories earlier in the day and have a lighter dinner so that
Okay. Yeah.
we're able to kind of digest our food and have better sleep. So I'm like, especially if we're not hitting the gym after, we got to keep it light so we can just go home and go to bed and try our best to get some decent sleep.
For sure. For sure. I agree with that because you don't want to have like we remember like the like digestion's like north to south. So like and you have to be like up, like standing up. So if you eat a big meal and then you like lay down, that's you're not going to digest your food the right way. So yeah, that's a good point to keep it lighter. It just depending on when they work out, you still want them to have like enough calories to like start recovering from the workout, but then not too much where they're not going to be able to digest it exactly.
Yeah. Like a smoothie with some protein powder might do the job afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be usually I'm not like the biggest fan of like using like protein powders, but in that case, like that's when it would make sense
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you need
If
something
you
that's going to digest faster.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just not a big fan of it of like people like always using it like as like a meal replacement like during their day. Like if they're instead of having Whole Foods,
No.
then they're just like, oh, I'm just gonna have like protein shakes because that's where I've messed up in the past. And like technically, you are gonna be hitting like your protein goal, but you're just not gonna be fueled the same. Especially like in my case, if you work like a blue collar job, you're like it digests so fast, you're just gonna be hungry again really quickly, and you're gonna run out of energy. Or like how you coach um nurses and stuff, they need to be on their feet, so you want to be making sure they're fueled their whole shift.
100%. And there's a lot of talk right now, especially with like these GLP-1s about food noise. And people that struggle with their weight are saying that they have so much food noise, they can't stop thinking about food. And these GLP-1s will help turn that off, right? Calm it. And I do food diary audits on my page. I let people send like their food diary, or even sometimes I'll do just breakfast. Like just send me your breakfast and I can probably tell you where you're going wrong in the day because
Yeah,
people literally chug a Fairlife shake. To your point, they chug a Fairlife shake for breakfast with their coffee.
yeah,
Maybe if we're lucky, they're getting a banana in there, but it's like, that's it. And I'm like, sure, on the label, like you said, it says 30 grams of protein, but you're chugging it in 2 seconds. Your body isn't, none of the hunger cues are kicking in. there's no volume food in your stomach. And you do feel starving. And it's like there's
Yeah.
inflammatory oils in there. It's like a bunch of additives. And so I'm
Yeah.
a real big believer that like chewing, and even this is also why I'm an advocate of cooking your food at home when you can, obviously, because the digestive process starts when you smell the food cooking. And that's when our body starts to produce those, bile. And it slows the whole thing down. We're present. We're like, okay, I'm smelling the food. Now my body's getting ready to digest and break it down. Then we're chewing our food. And I work with clients on timing how long it takes them to finish a meal. And when it's under 5 minutes or 4 minutes, I'm like, we set goals around literally
Yeah.
doubling. I'm like, so
Yeah.
you should turn this lunch from a 4 minute lunch to an 8 minute lunch because you will eat less. And that food noise that everyone's complaining about, it's part of it is just you're literally hungry because you're not eating any real food. So your body's not, those satiation cues aren't kicking in.
Yeah. And to your point of if they could also be like if rushing to eat and then you're not in like a calm like state, then you're just going to be in like a fight or flight mode, like shoveling food in your mouth. You're not going to, and then that could also lead to like bloating or other like digestive issues because you weren't like calm and like present while you're eating. So there's like
100%.
all these other things that like these symptoms that people are having, and then they just want to hop on like Ozempic or stuff. It's like we can just start with just like you said, just cooking our food at home and then just being present and in a calm state while you're eating it, and then you wouldn't need to you'd be more satiated, so you wouldn't have the food noise, and then probably fix like some digestion issues because you're like calm while you're eating.
It's the fix of so many things and it's
Yeah.
free. It's
Yeah,
free to sit
it's free.
down, but
Like you
it's
just
free. We don't like free. We want,
yeah.
give me $1,000 of peptides. Like, give me this new program. We get like addicted to just program hopping and complicating things. And I'm like, the free stuff, I know you're going to roll. I always say, I'm like, you're going to roll your eyes at me, but it's like the free stuff works. Like, literally go touch grass. Like, you got to
Yeah.
set your fork down between bites and nobody wants to do that. But I always say, like, I like to give action steps or homework, whatever you want to call it, when you have a check-in with me, your action step for this week. I'm like, I like to pick an action step like that's simple, but trickles down and solves other problems. And what you just described is like a perfect example of that, of like cooking at home. It's simple, but it improves your digestion, your stress, your absorption of nutrients, you eat less, food noise, like all these things are benefited from one simple thing. And
Yeah.
especially for women, I feel like men are a little more educated on protein than women are usually. They know like from high school to like pound creatine and have some protein to build muscle. But
Yeah.
women like, why do I need protein? And like, why is that my goal? And I'm often like, I'm not like this unrealistic bodybuilder coach where I'm going to make you eat like all your body weight in protein necessarily. Like I'm reasonable, but protein is so simple. If we get more protein at breakfast, it's a very simple action step, but it's going to trickle down, turn off the food noise later. You're going to have
Yeah.
more stable energy. You're not going to be like craving like when we start with like sweet stuff, we're on this carb roller coaster all day. We want more sweet foods. But if we have
Yeah.
like savory, protein forward, we're just like more chill, I feel like, and grounded.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I like simple things that trickle down and like solve a bunch of other problems.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I know it's like a thing. My wife had sent me a reel one time. It was like her husband was out of town. She's like, I'm having dinner without any protein in it, and she just made like pasta.
Girl, but
Yeah.
the girl, we call
Yeah.
it. We're like,
Yeah.
it's just the noodles.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's funny. Yeah, because with guys, it's like that's not like so big of a thing, but for women, you need to still like have like enough protein to. Because what I've seen before with my female clients is they'll be having like little protein like throughout the day. So it'd be like 10 grams here, 15 grams here, but it's never enough to actually like signal your body to like for the muscle protein synthesis to like to build the muscle because you need like the leucine threshold to signal that to your body. So you'll be like keep eating all these little proteins, but it's like never enough to really signal your body to do anything. So it's just kind of just there.
100%. And I think like something that works for me is reminding them, I'm like, you are working so hard in the gym for what? Like, if you want
Yeah.
that hard work to pay off, like follow it up with protein, with sleep, because your muscles are also like building and repairing themselves, not when you're in the gym. So it's like supplementing
Exactly.
with the right recovery, or else it's like you're wasting your time. So I do think that can sometimes motivate women because we're like, oh man, I really am busting my butt.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good thing to remind them for sure.
Yeah, make it worth your time.
Yeah, because a lot of people think that, I mean, yeah, pushing yourself hard in the gym is very important. You want to, signal your body to start building the muscle, but then if you're not eating well afterwards, or like, it can take a couple days to still for that recovery of your muscles, and you're not eating the right way to fuel the muscle building, then what are we doing?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's a lot of effort for not a lot of
Yeah.
reward.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's just one of the like my biggest things is the nutrition, because it is very important. It's just so important, just from, what I've learned from making the mistakes in the past. That's what I try to educate my clients on. Yeah,
It's
for
needed.
sure.
It's really needed.
Do you have any kids or anything yet?
No, I
Okay.
don't. I would love to, I hope to be a mom. I think I was born to be a mom. So I do hope to be able to like lead by example for kids.
Okay. Okay, so that is still a goal of yours. Okay, that's cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure. As I'd scrolled on your page a little bit and I didn't see, but sometimes people don't like posting their kids, so I just wasn't sure.
Yeah. I no, I was in a very long-term relationship through my whole 20s and I recently went through a breakup. So I'm starting over. And
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
but
Well, I'm sorry to
I
hear that then.
no, it's all good. I didn't
Okay.
have kids relationships though. But yeah, I was a kindergarten teacher. And it's funny, when I was a teacher, I used to, it's like kids are so, I mean, because you're a dad, they learn from what you do, not what you say, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they, one teacher, 30 kids in front of me all the time. And they would always be like, what are you eating? Like, what are you? Because I would stand in front, like, I'm trying to like monitor them while I'm like scarfing down my salad and quinoa and all this weird stuff. And they were always like, what is that? And I'm like, you have to, like, because a lot of the kids in the city where I worked, would come in and their lunch would be a bag of chips and a soda. Like their parents would just swing by the
Mm,
bodega and it would
yeah.
be literally that. And so I felt like this inner passion. It would like drive me crazy where I'd be like, just trying to teach them about nutrition, even though they're like 4 years old. I was like, you need,
Okay.
you got to eat this and you got to on your plate so that you can build muscles or your brain can grow strong and all this stuff. And, you know, taking brain breaks from their desks to like do squats and jumping jacks and all this stuff. And I was like, I wonder if I just think it's so, I guess it kind of goes along with just what we both do for coaching. Like even we work with adults and adults don't know because nobody teaches this stuff in school. You have to seek this knowledge out on your own.
Yeah.
Luckily we're great. We're able to help people and teach people how to change their life. But I do think there's like an opportunity to, I don't know, help families and kids because you don't know. And it's
Yeah.
so like obesity is such a big problem right now in our country, even for kids too.
Yeah, I think that is a big part of it, and that's what I've seen, because I've been coaching my sisters, and then their kids, see them working out and then eating better. And at first, I know one of my nephews was like pretty picky, but then the more she started like cooking and all this stuff, then the less picky he's gotten. And then, now her kids, since they see her working out now, they want to do their own workout. So like my youngest nephew says like, okay, I'm gonna go do my workout now, and he does like little step ups on her like step and stuff, and and then
So
has, I think
cute.
he probably has his like little trucks doing workouts and stuff.
But they
Yeah.
really, they just, if it's normal, because they see you do it every day, like they just think it's normal and they want to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like another part, since I coach like dads, is for that reason of like setting the example, and then your kids will just think it's normal.
100%. And it's like,
Yeah.
as a dad, like you're the protector, too, of
Yeah.
your family. And so I think there's a lot of, um, yeah, confidence that can come from that and feeling like you're living up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I'm actually coaching like one of my friends, and then he's doing, it's kind of a trade. So I'm doing is like, health and fitness coaching, and then he's training me with like firearms. So we're like doing a little trade right there. Yeah. So that way, for that protector role, just in case. Yeah, yeah. So that's been pretty cool.
Great idea.
Yeah,
That's really smart. Yeah, I love that.
yeah,
I think that's a good angle to use for deaths.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. We want to do something eventually with that like firearms training, but we'll see if we can get that off the ground.
Yeah, like maybe some
Yeah.
sort of in
Yeah.
person training events. That would be cool or meet up. That could be a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, because he used to do that also because he works on the railroad, but he used to do like the firearms training. So he's trying to get that started back up over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So
really awesome.
that's
I
our
love
that's
that.
our goal is we could do like the firearms training and then the and like fitness training at the same time.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
smart. Like we need more of that, like so badly, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just I'm like talking big game over here. I'm like, men need this, but it is needed. Like, I just think if you come from a loving place, you're trying to help people. Like, it's just such a positive thing. I think it's
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Cool. Okay. Ah, okay. Well, okay, I think that was all the questions I actually had. This was a good conversation. Did you have any questions for me?
yeah. Well, I mean, I just love, yeah, like what we were just talking about. I just love like your niche, I guess we could call it, and I think it's important work. Not, I might be a little biased, but I think it's important work, like what we do. And I think, I think like when more good will happen in the world when people feel good, like
Hmm.
just not to get like so deep, but it's like, when you feel good about yourself and you have your health, which is like the most important thing, like it just trickles down and positively impacts like so many other things. So I just think it's really important to connect with other people that are doing this and to try to reach more people and help more people. I just think it's really cool. And yeah, I would love to, if you ever want to do, like a joint live or something on social media. It's similar. It's like a mini podcast,
Yeah.
what I
Hmm.
do to just like, get this conversation out there with more people. We should totally plan it.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I never really do Instagram lives. I've only done like a few like TikTok lives, but I do need to be better about going live. So yeah, that's a good idea. We should do that. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. I
Cool.
even like now that I'm saying it, I'm like, I should connect with more people in our community for that. But it's not, the benefit I have found is just, growing a social is slow. At least for me, it's been a slow journey, but just having that live, it's not like a ton of people come live usually, but so it's not like this huge audience in the moment. It's not really a big scary thing. It's very cool, chill, casual,
Yeah.
just like a
Yeah.
conversation. But then like you post it to the page and it's just now doubling the audience and it's like totally different reach.
Yeah.
And so I find that it's a great way to just like reach people organically through just like a conversation. And then you can like cut clips
Yeah.
of it and share. So it could
Yeah,
be
that's a really good
a cool way.
idea. We can do that for sure. So, speaking of social media, so where can everyone find you?
Yeah, my page is Ashley Christine Fitness, and Christine is spelled KH. So that's a little funny, but really, Instagram is the best place. I do have a TikTok too, but I am really present on my stories and in my DMs. So happy to chat with anyone that has questions or just wants to connect on there.
Awesome. I'll make sure I link that in the description too, so anyone can find you. So awesome. This is a great conversation, and yeah, we'll plan to do the Instagram thing for sure. That's a good
Send
idea.
over, I'll brainstorm some like topics and send it over to you. We can plan something. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Cool. Okay. So I hope everyone has a good day, and we'll see you later.
Good. Thank you.